Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Yolanda, co-founder of Harper Therapy, and I am here with our teen guru.
I'm Tony.
Yay. What a great series about our teens.
I had a lot more fun with this than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like a love-hate relationship with teens sometimes. And
Well, it's, I mean, like, thinking back to my teen years, like, would any of us go back and redo it again?
No.
And, you know, I know that we've said it quite a bit, but our teens, like, it's different. It's so different growing up today than when we were kids.
And then trying to parent that is even more difficult.
Because we only know what we know, right? We only know the parenting that we grew up with. And a lot of times it's like, I'm either going to replicate that or do the complete opposite. Maybe a mix of both.
Going too far one way to the other and just,
But today's topic, this is one that I, like, if I could, like, get on the rooftop with my megaphone.
Yep. And just hold up signs like protests about emotions and we're talking about emotional intelligence and just the whole emotions wheel.
Yeah.
And that there's so much more. I mean, I know I grew up where there was happy, mad, and sad. And really the only one you were allowed to show was happy. And if you were sad, one of the big lines my dad used to use was, "Why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about." And so getting comfortable with crying is a really new concept for me.
And for a lot of women, especially, anger and mad, right, is... You know, good girls don't get angry, and just all of that. There's so much nuance in all, even the mad, sad, glad, which is like a survey of the population. Those are the only three emotions that most of us know.
Yeah. So even as parents, trying to understand our own emotions so that we could help our teens understand, that's where some of the as a parent, that's where some of the really scary work gets done, because you actually have to look inside and look at yourself and realize, what emotions am I having? How do I describe this? And I know when I started to really get curious about what I was truly feeling, it was empowering, because I could finally be like, oh, wait a second. I'm not actually mad at my kid because they left Legos out. I had a really crappy day and I'm taking it out on them because I have too much on my plate. So I need to move some stuff off. And being able to recognize stuff about myself and realizing, like, I've noticed that when you ask me how my day is and I'm like trucking along, I have too much. I have too much and I need to take a break, because otherwise it's going to go sideways any moment. And there's going to be some
you're
victims.
shoving stuff down. You're like, oh, just trucking along. Everything's hunky-dory.
And so just being able to be like, okay, hold on, pause. What's going on for me? What's causing the overflow there? Is it something at the bottom? Is there, you know, is it the dirt at the bottom that I've been ignoring for 6 months? And just working through all of that and putting a name to it. And then modeling that for our kids. So
because so we've been talking a lot about, like, the old do as I say, not as I do, right? And how that it's time for that to change. And it's really that plays into this too. If we look at our teens and we say to them, don't give me that attitude, or, you know, whatever. Right? It's basically saying, hey, own what's happening for you, right? Let's get curious about the emotion, like what's happening.
What's going on for you right now.
And we have to do that for ourselves, right? And be clear for ourselves. Like you said, I'm not really mad at the kids. I'm exhausted, or, you know.
I need a break. I need whatever. And helping them, because kids, when they're acting out, and I know they say this a lot about toddlers, I think it carries on into the teens.
Teens years are just toddler 2.0.
And bigger, like in a bigger version. But they don't know what to do with their feelings, and they don't know what that is. So being able to, you know, when a teen is acting out, they have something going on that they don't know how to express.
Absolutely. And so giving them tools, like just what we know about brain science is wrapping words around feelings helps to decrease the intensity of the feelings. But keep in mind, our teens have all of those hormones and stuff rolling through them too. And that just turns the volume up on a lot of emotional experiences.
I mean, think about I just compare it to yourself. As a female, when hormones start surging, I am not a pleasant person. I know I'm not. And only as I've gotten older can I recognize that. Now imagine being 15 and not understanding that and having all these big emotions and people are being jerks at school and your parents are getting on you, but you don't have an outlet for that. So by modeling your emotions with your kids and saying, I mean, even starting them out young as when they're teens, you know, when I'm frustrated, I'll tell my kids, like if I yell at them, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry I yelled. This is what was going on for mommy. Sometimes when I'm really tired, I yell. And it opens up that line of communication with your kid because now they feel safe. Like, oh, hey, mom goes through this too. That's kind of, and it helps reinforce that relationship that you want with your kid.
Right. That back and forth communication. And you reference the feelings wheel. Legit. Like, go online, do a Google search for a feelings wheel, print that puppy out, and hang it on the refrigerator.
Because you have those, like, anger is a big one. I think nowadays anxiety, people use that for everything. And I think teens feel like that's a buzzword. And they can be like, I'm so anxious, I have anxiety, I have an anxiety disorder. What does that really mean?
What does that mean?
Where is that coming from?
And interestingly enough, when we start putting words to these experiences and get curious about where they land in our bodies, anxiety and excitement, they're the same feelings in our body, right? It's just the word that we wrap around it.
Yes, and trying to recognize and that I have that conversation a lot with my teens, recognizing that there is good anxiety and there's bad anxiety, and which one are you feeling? How can you tell the difference?
And sometimes it's just using the different words. What we know with brain science now is like sometimes if I say that I'm excited over I'm anxious, then we have a more positive experience. It does. It does. And we are big Brene Brown fans here, and her newest book, Atlas of the Heart, is like a big feelings wheel on steroids. So
I'm not gonna lie, that's where I got some of my information.
There you go. It's good.
It's because it was really just listening to her talk about some of the, and I've only it's a big book.
Oh yeah, it's one that you just kind of, it's a reference book, really.
Yes, and so I've only gotten through a little bit of it, and it was so useful and helpful, and it was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about with teens, being able to figure out those emotions and identify them and realize that there's such a rainbow of emotions out there that we don't even know where to begin.
And doing this, like giving yourself the gift of emotional intelligence and awareness and modeling that for your kids is not only beneficial for you and your relationship with your teen, but that's a skill that they're going to carry forward in their whatever relationships at work, you know, at school, their romantic relationships, their friendships, for the rest of their life.
Yeah, well, because think about it. We've carried forward what we learned from our parents and what they taught us, which was no emotions. And so now we can hopefully, help our kids learn to carry these emotions forward.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. In positive, and like even the difficult emotions, right? Being able to do something positive with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, everyone, go look up your feelings wheel. Print on a copy on the refrigerator. We'll see you next week.